Das, co-founder, CEO, and product evangelist at Prophase, and I would like to invite you all to this show. Today, we have a special guest with us. Now, let me introduce Mr. Milind G. Mungale. Milind has started his career in 1987. Since then, he has been working in the IT industry in various capacities. He is completely nearly 36.5 years in the IT and cybersecurity industry. Majority of the experience is in the BFSI since then. He joined NSDL in September 1996 and has been with the organization for around 27 years. During his tenure with Protean and NSDL, he was heading the information security, cybersecurity, network security, IT infrastructure, and data center functions of the organization. He was the executive vice president and CISO for Protean, and later was appointed as managing director and chief executive officer to fully owned subsidiary company named Protean Infosec Service Limited. This company was formed to offer cybersecurity consulting and advisory services. He was responsible for operational strategies to effectively carve out a market niche in the space of cybersecurity domain. At present, he's leading the information technology and information system advisor to National Securities Depository Limited, NSDL. So welcome to the show, sir. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction.
Great. So before getting started, I would like to hear on, you have a vast experience in the cybersecurity domain. So maybe we could just start with how the journey was throughout these 36.5 years in the cybersecurity industry. So let's get started with that part.
So the journey was exactly like the roads in Mumbai. When we started, it was very rough. It was having a lot of holes. There were no flyovers. There were no sideways. There were very less signals. No one would follow the signals. And over a period of time, it has come to a very systematic traffic. Now, I think the roads are good. There are flyovers to fly away from the signals. And I think people are more disciplined. So I every time compare the cybersecurity journey of any organization like that of the roads of any city. And I think with that one analogy, most of the people get what exactly I'm trying to say.
Yes, definitely. So that's a great analogy. So, you meant to say it was what do you call, a roller coaster ride, or with a lot of highs and lows, and like the bumpy roads that we have. Right?
Yes, I mean, earlier, it is exactly like earlier, the security was an issue, but there were not enough technological support and tools available to protect your infrastructure. Similar to the roads were not so good, and the cars also did not have very good suspensions and mechanisms to be able to drive on those roads. Today, the cars are also very good, and the roads are also very good. So today, the security awareness, knowledge, and understanding is also very good. People appreciate it, and there are good technologies, good tools, good expertise available to protect your infrastructure. So that's the maturity that our country has gained over a period of last 25 years, I would say.
Yes, perfectly. I mean, now I would sum up to say that we have better shock absorption right now, and more awareness,
yes,
and better facilities and advancements in terms of technology, right? So that has definitely helped the cybersecurity domain, right? Well, really great to hear your insights on how your journey went. So before getting on to the next question, maybe you could also share, your journey through the professional, different companies that you have gone through, like, so how that went and all of that.
Majority of my career has been in this particular group, NSDL. Earlier, I used to work for manufacturing organizations because way back in 1987, 88, the first adopters of IT were manufacturing organizations. They used to use it for what they call it as MRP. Nowadays, we call it ERP. they used to use it for payroll processing. They used to use it for invoice generation, challenge generation, all those basic kind of things. And that BFSI was not into IT at that time. No banks could adopt it, no financial organizations could adopt it, but manufacturing was adopting it in a big way. So first 10 years I spent my career tenure in manufacturing organizations, and then subsequently BFSI started taking it up. And I think BFSI also understood that information is critical, and financial information is more critical than the rudimentary standard process information. And they started adopting it. That is the time when I came to NSDL in September 1996. And since then, I have been with this particular company. Of course, in between, because of certain requirements, we had to demerge the company. To instead of one, there were two companies, NSDL and NSDL Governance Infrastructure Limited. Uh, because my role was more important there, so I was a part of NSDL Governance Infrastructure Limited. Subsequently, we renamed it to Protean. So now NSDL is a different name and a Protean is a different name. So the continuity was there. Even the names of the companies changed. I was a part of that company for last 27 years now. And after I took up an early retirement, I decided to enjoy my life. I had 37 years, and in IT and IT security, 37 years are equivalent to 50 years. So I said enough is enough. But when I took an early retirement, National Securities Depository Limited, where my security journey was born, or where I was born as a security professional, they invited me to become their advisor, and I could not say no to them. After all, it's like a parent figure. This company is like a parent figure for me, and that is the reason why I took up this advisory assignment, and that's had been my journey all this while.
Definitely. So it's great to hear that. Obviously, who could let go of the expertise that you have and the kind of experience that you have within you, right? So lovely to hear that. And so before, now let's move on to the next question. So I would like to know, like, as the technologies like IoT and AI have become more prevalent these days, like, what considerations should organizations believe that are essential for safeguarding connected environments from the emerging threats? We know that, like, now everybody is, talking a lot about the AIs and MLs and a lot of IoTs, interconnected devices coming into picture. Everything is becoming like smart homes, driverless cars, and all this. So, what do you think would be the essentials for safeguarding this environment?
Yeah, so IoT and AI both are like a double-edged sword. It's up to us as to from what end do we use it, and for what purpose we use it. And similarly, the other side of our story, the hackers, the people with malicious intentions also have these tools and also have this technology. So obviously, has to be very careful when they decide to introduce IoT, not only in their organizations or for their business, but even at their home. I mean, rampantly, we just go and buy these devices which work on the clap, or which the light will start on the clap, or you can just give a command to Alexa or Siri and the light will start. But we are forgetting that these are the things in which we are, without having much awareness about the security considerations around that, what is it built with and how it works and how they connect to each other. And just by giving a voice command, how does the switch get on and the light gets on? We are giving control outside our purview. Earlier, we had a physical control. Unless I go to the switchboard and push a particular button, the light will not go on. Now, with this, we don't know what all intelligence is built into it. No one really writes on the box what all intelligence is built, and even if I no one read it. Like every food item packaged or every medicine has its components written on that packing, but no one reads them. Right? Doctor is prescribed, I will buy it and I will take it. So that's the same thing with these IoTs we use at home, and of course have a disciplined way of doing it, because there are systematic departments and their evaluation process, and there are a lot of intelligent and expert people sitting in the organization who care for these kind of things. And artificial intelligence on the top of it is something which people use to control it. For example, I don't even want to give a command now. I come home, I open my lock, which is digital, connected. Immediately, there should be some sensing saying that the lock is open. So Alexa should give a command to start the light. I don't want to even take the efforts of speaking out that 3 or 4 words. And I want to be mesmerized with that experience that as soon as I open the door and I sit, and immediately Alexa starts my light, or Siri starts my light. That's a very magical experience. But then we are giving our full control to artificial. Instead of using our natural intelligence, I think we are giving it to the artificial intelligence. And that's where my concern is, that using the tools beyond the point is something which is going to be dangerous for the organizations as well as for the individuals who use them at home. It is like, would you give a knife to play to your young kid because he doesn't have anything else to play? You won't do that, right? I mean, that's what is the consideration which one should have. One should treat artificial intelligence and IoTs like a knife, and you don't pick up a knife to eat something because you are not finding a spoon, because you know that if you do that, you will cut your mouth. And that's the same thing, unless until there is a real business need, or there's a real, uh, like there are boons also, like people who cannot move from their bed can really use these tools to switch on or switch off the light, fan, reduce the AC, or all those things. There is a need, it is going to help them, then the risk is worth it. But for people like you and me, whether we should use this is something which we should be very, very careful about. We should be very thoughtful about. And as artificial intelligence is algorithmic driven, or it is also self-learning, so it is dynamic in nature, you can feed anything to it. You can even ask an artificial intelligence tool to monitor things which are beyond its scope of work. Like smart TVs there was an detection that smart TVs were collecting a lot of information and sending to the OEMs and OTT platform providers. And this was just about 2 years back, immediately after the COVID era had gone. And this was something which was not known to the consumer. No one told them that your smart TV is capable of collecting a lot of information when you are using it. And smart TVs do have cameras, so we don't know. I have not been able to go into much of the details, but then smart TV is an IoT, according to me. Your wearable, your watch is an IoT. So geographically, it can track where you are going, how much time you're spending where, and all those things. I mean, your mobile can also do that, but sometimes you can leave mobile at one place and walk, and that also can be tracked. So it is necessary to check on whether you need that technology. I mean, your day-to-day life is getting affected because of the technology, or whether you can do without that technology for the time being till a very matured state comes up. If it is a necessity, organizations or individuals should use it. But if someone can wait for getting more awareness about how this works, and being more aware about what are the nuances of using this, I think that would be worth a wait.
Definitely. So that was really enlightening. I mean, hearing that it's a double-edged sword, and how we're all mesmerized using all these smart devices, making our home smart, everything, every aspect of our life is becoming smarter, and how we forget to really use our natural intelligence. I mean, definitely that is really insightful. This reminds me of a quote. I mean, like Sundar Pichai talking that his home is not yet smart. So people know like when what level of smartness they need and what level is not required, right? So yes, so definitely we all do have to diligently use these kind of advancements in technology, seeing to the level of how much of information is shared and how much is in our control or not. So with that, let's move on to the next question on in your opinion, what's the most overlooked or the underrated aspect of cybersecurity that all organizations should prioritize more?
So the most underrated and overlooked aspect of cybersecurity, regardless of whether the organization is a two-person organization or a 20 million people organization, is building a culture of cybersecurity. I think most of the organizations don't even care to make their employees aware, though they are fully digital. Many good organizations like ours have a very dedicated and a regular training program. There are people who are following up, make sure that the training happens and assessment is done. Many organizations go beyond that and run some more programs of self-study and all these things. But frankly speaking, this is education, this is training. It is like you clear your college graduation degree. Today, I give you one question from that exam paper where you topped. You will not be able to answer that question because you have knowledge. But today, regardless of whether anyone is watching or not, whether anyone is telling or not, you will wash your hands before you eat food because that is culture which was imbibed into you in your childhood. And I think cybersecurity culture is necessary. Awareness is compliance. Giving training program, gathering attendance sheet, and recording it as a part of your official document is compliance. I don't think that culture building is happening to the extent it should happen based on the given the population of our country, the digitalization that is happening. We're talking of digital India, a lot of encouragement is happening in that area for even smaller organizations. That's most underrated and overlooked aspect of cybersecurity.
Definitely. So I do agree 100%. It's all about the culture of, the awareness that is really required, especially since huge digitization is actually happening, or everybody, each and every individual should have the basic knowledge about, this cybersecurity aspects or how to keep, their digital presence safe, right? Yes. So yeah, I perfectly do agree with that. So with that, let's move on to the next question. So if you could change one common misconception about cybersecurity in the business world, what would it be and why?
So one myth in the cybersecurity of the cybersecurity in business world is that when I give certain work to someone else, when I outsource something, then it is that person's or that entity's, that vendor's, that organization's responsibility to secure my data. I think that is a myth. Wherever your data is, the responsibility and the accountability will always remain with you. You cannot say because I have given all my data to process to someone else because that entity is cheaper than me doing it in-house. Now that entity will be responsible for all the data security. What if something goes wrong? Then you cannot really catch hold of the neck of that person or that entity. You may be able to do some legal things, but damage is done. You cannot really go and undo that damage. So that's a myth. Most of the organizations think I put my application on cloud, cloud is secure, or the cloud service provider will take care of it. Or I have given someone the job of processing my data should be secured in their environment. After all, it is their business. How can they go wrong? No, we can't take that thing. I think that's the biggest myth that even today, after such a maturity, many organizations think that way.
Yes, so as you were saying about this responsibility factor, even I was thinking about the cloud scenario wherein people feel that if their applications are on cloud, it's their duty to secure in and out of it. But even they specifically say that it's a shared responsibility, right? Only the overall infrastructure security is their responsibility, and your own application security is definitely part of your responsibility as well. Very well said. So I also feel the same way. Right. So with that, let's move on to the next question in our list. So basically, from your perspective, What's the most disruptive technology trend that will reshape the cybersecurity landscape? And how can organizations prepare for this paradigm shift?
It's a predictive answer. I mean, something which I would be very shy to answer. I am personally a very paranoid person in this particular aspect, and most pessimistic thinker in these aspects, because ultimately that's what keeps the cybersecurity posture strong. So for me, it's a bit difficult, but as you have asked, I will say something. Well, as far as the technology is concerned, we already talked about artificial intelligence and IoT. I don't want to say that one particular technology or one particular aspect is falling in this category. I would like to say that when you club multiple things together, you have cloud, and on that you have maybe some artificial intelligence engine which is connected to wearable IoTs or those IoTs, and then ultimately all these things put together make that very useful technology, basket, but it makes it a very dangerous technology basket, because all these things put together would add up to the weaknesses. Each one of them would have some of the other weakness, and they would get added. And when they get added, you always know that before you find the collective, we are not in a position to even identify technology by technology weaknesses today. We are talking about identifying when multiple weaknesses come together. So uh, as they say that minus one is what, plus one or something of that kind. So similar to that, when weaknesses add up, they become very strong vulnerabilities in your system. And without thinking, if you put your application on such kind of because you want to go and tell to the market that I'm using AI and I'm using cloud and I'm also using IoT. So I have a very strong, I mean, I have got an application which is going to provide you with a platform which will help you do your investments through your smartwatch, because your smartwatch is connected to internet and I have a cloud. And because smartwatch is very small, I have an AI engine which will predict what you exactly want, or it give you options. You have to just check the option and then everything will happen on its own. When we go and give such magical features to our customers, we have to be very sure as to what we are giving in their hand, isn't it?
Yes.
uh, to draw an analogy, every restaurant will give you a fork and a knife because that is required for you to eat your food. But that fork and knife are blunt enough not to be able to take anyone's life. uh, they take that care. Do we take that care in terms of technology when we hand over such features to our customers? Is the question that everyone has to ask. And if you are doing that, good, everyone should learn from you.
Well, that's a perfect analogy. I really liked it. I mean, in the restaurants, we have the fork and knife, right? So, and they keep it blunt. So, do we really bother as an organization about how much of care and security we do provide to our customer data, right? Because customers always definitely the king, always, all time. So, how much of care and concerned are we about their data is what matters the most, right? Yes, so that perfectly fits as an answer there. So with that, let's move on to the last and final question of the day. So that would be like, what do you see as the most critical challenge that businesses face in the modern digital landscape? And how do you propose overcoming these challenges?
A very non-traditional, out of the boundary answer I would like to give is the biggest challenge that the businesses face in terms of having a robust cybersecurity is competition. The basis of it is competition. every business would think that my feature has to go out before my competition comes in with that. Every business thinks that a day's delay will, steal so much of market and so many consumers from me. In olden days, when we used to release the application, we used to release it once in 6 months. So we had enough time to be able to test it thoroughly, make sure that everything works fine. When we used to install any new hardware, we had at least a quarter of a year to be able to test it and try it and do everything that we need to do to make sure that it works properly when it is rolled out in production. Today, that has reduced to hours. If your server comes, your OEM also claims plug and play, just put it and it will start working. The network guys also say plug and play, just connect this cable and it will start working. Why? Because I have software as a network as a software. Network is SDM, what we call it as, software defined network and all those things nowadays. So you don't have to really bother about testing anything. I have put everything in that. Application people don't get their time to even develop the features. It's an agile methodology, DevSecOps, and all those kind of things are coming in, where they are told, okay, this is the feature and I want to roll it out today evening. Now that guy will be pressurized by developing that feature without thinking too many aspects of it. He will just focus on making sure that feature works as per the BRD or the requirement document that has been given. He will not apply his mind, because if he applies his mind, he is going to be delaying the whole process, and that is not going to be beneficial, or it's not going to be looked at with a great respect by the business guys. So I think the biggest challenge is not technology, it is not expertise, it is not cybersecurity issues, it is not weaknesses, it is not vulnerabilities. It is the competition which is the biggest challenge. If they ease out on this aspect, I think everything will fall in place.
Yes, definitely. So as you said, we're all in a rat race, for getting that competitive edge over the others, because that's where, the business, I mean, that's what business demands, what is different in you from your peers. Like, so we keep on innovating and bringing new things, bringing new features, adding on, to the product roadmap. But how much of security aspects are also incorporated into it? That is what we should always think. It's always about having that DevSecOps perspective, right? So bringing that security aspect into each and every part of the development.
And
Yeah.
having time to do it.
Yes.
Most important is you can bring in, you have enough expertise to bring in, but you don't have time. So you simply step back and say, okay, whatever is going on, let it go on.
Yes, yes. So at the end, there's no point crying over the spilled milk, right? So always prevention should always be better than cure. So definitely. So we have a great lesson to take away with us from what all golden pieces of advices that you've given. That we should always be on the precautionary side, wherein we should always look into each and every aspect before jumping into something that can give you small short-term benefits, right? Because to have a robust system in picture, it should always be secure, and we should never let the control of our data to somebody else or a third party, right? Right. So with that, we come to the end of this session, which was really informative, and I am really mesmerized by the kind of knowledge and experience that you actually brought into the session. I am really delighted, and it's a pleasure to host you in this session. So before we wind up, would you want to give any other piece of advice to the young cybersecurity folks that have joined the industry and have a lot more years to go in?
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you very much for having me over here. It was the questions were also very well thought of, and I enjoyed answering them. Normally, the questions are very traditional, almost similar to uh, the Hindi serials which come on the TV nowadays, but they were very different. So thank you for having this question. As far as young people are concerned, I would say that they have a very bright future, and they should focus more on knowledge. Money will follow. Money is something which is never enough. Otherwise the the richest person in the world would have stopped working many years back. He continues to work, and the top 10 richest people continue to work because money is never enough. Everyone has to define what is enough for them. But knowledge is something which will be always a permanent asset. And this knowledge is not to be acquired like how you acquired your engineering or MBA degrees. This knowledge has to be acquired like how you acquired your basic mathematics or learn the tables. And younger security professionals should calm themselves down. We stressed ourselves a lot during our younger age because we did not know anything. I think they should calm themselves down. That will work much better than working in a high stress environment.
Great. So I feel that that was a great piece of advice for all the young cybersecurity folks who have a long way to go, a long journey in front of them. So it's not about money. It's all about acquiring knowledge. What can be there with you throughout, and what can aid you through the ups and downs in this
And
journey,
money
right?
follows.
Yes,
They should not forget. They don't have to really earn money once they are expert in their field. Uh, People will come and give them money.
yes, yes. Yeah, that's definitely really insightful for the young generation these days who are in this fast-paced world. Yeah, definitely. So that was a great session, sir. So we are extremely happy. And I feel that I have gone one step more in terms of the knowledge and the kind of insights that even I could take away from the session. So thanks a lot for taking your time out of your busy schedule. In fact, it was lovely to have hosted you. So thank you once again. So let's
Thank
sign
you.
off.
Thank you very much. And all the best for you.
Yeah, thank you. So with that note, we come to the end of Security Over a Cup of Tea. So this is Lakshmi signing off. So have a great day, and do not forget to keep that curve on your face upright, that you have a great smile, which is one curve that will set or everything straight and upright. Thank you. Keep smiling. Bye.